Alrighty, everybody. This is another episode of Cosmic Surface. Today, we are going to get into why your God is not aligned with natural law. Transcending the God Matrix with George Kavassilas. Alrighty. Well, George is a bit of a controversial character because he says that the people that are calling out the new age are still part of the new age, whether it's your chakras or your pineal gland or your kundalini or the God which you are claiming is the same as natural law and the creator of everything is not the true essence of the creator of all. It is the one that claims to be. So, what is the difference? And why is the natural law community infiltrated with the God matrix and spewing God garbage everywhere and claiming that this is nature? Truly crappy, low-level bullshit, still full of alien garbage. So, let's bring these guys up. Let's get into George Kavassilas' work. He's interviewed in 2018. I know George personally. I was hanging out with him at this time. I've done plant medicines ceremonies with George. He is also spreading the message of shadow work and going within, and also bringing the cosmic to the world. His framework of the layers of the cosmic and how it all comes into place, I found is second to none. You may disagree with him on some of his more current stuff. I'm not really into it. That doesn't matter because that doesn't take away any of the truth of this wider picture. Also, I've had plenty of conversations with him about the morality of killing animals and so forth. Not particularly happy with the answer of I'm from Sirius, so therefore, whatever. I do believe that that's ideology, whereas he believes that veganism is ideology and dogma. But that's another conversation for another day. So let's get into it because this needs to be addressed head on.
In this lifetime, it's taken me a long time to remember, but in light of everything that's happening, the blood codes of the ancestors are awakening right now, as well as coming into trajectory with the soul code genetics and the consciousness of the original human consciousness is available for those now that are willing to go through the process.
This video can be found on Black Earth Productions, and thank you to Seth Exposer for doing this interview with George.
And heal to remember what is there within themselves to access. Because we got all this stuff going on, a lot of the AI agendas and stuff like that we're going to get into tonight. Even though that timeline,
this is from 2018, so 7 years ago,
I feel is going to play itself out. There's something else running right alongside next to it. As far as I'm concerned, that's what I'm in trajectory with. Getting back to the true magic that was lost, that has been kept from us, is what is being developed and what we're coming back into. Getting back to the true organic, holistic way of being and seeing and living, being truly empowered, knowing who we are. One of the biggest things I think that has happened with so many people all across the world is that we've been cut off from our roots, man. Cut a man off from his roots and you will have a slave. That, an individual that's running on this slave consciousness doesn't know who he is, doesn't know where he's going. But everything that we're doing is getting people back into alignment with their true core essence so that they can remember why they're here, the true history, why they incarnated, and also whether or not they're a part of what is being developed.
So you're basically a transformational psychologist helping people to go in and do the inner work. And for guys out there, the inner work, obviously the tip of the iceberg is that meditation and going inwards. So what we're doing, we're stripping away the layers of the onion and getting back into that sentient sovereign being where we're connected with the earth. We're connected with...
I haven't seen this guy in, I don't know him personally, but his name's Nate Max, I believe. I haven't seen him pop up anywhere since about this time.
the stars, the universe, and everything around us. This is what Cephicus is talking about in a nutshell. So thank you for that, Cephicus. And yeah, George, would you like to tell the people at home and the viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I've had a very unusual life in this world and other worlds. Lots of challenges, and what I found along the way was all the challenges that I was experiencing, all the suffering that I was experiencing had meaning and had purpose. And I was able to then to go into this really beautiful alchemical process and reconcile the experiences that I had. And in that process, I began to understand that from a different aspect of my being, I actually created every single one of them, and that all the other beings in my experiences were role playing and were part of a co-creative process. So I stepped into that space of going back to being a responsible creator being, and in doing that, I became very much empowered from within. And the processes that I went through are really quite similar to the ones that Cephicus talks about. And that's what I really love about how the spice of life works in this world. All that beautiful diversity and individuality, yet all that synergy and all that synchronicity happening all at the same time. It's freaking awesome. For you guys, more specifically, I would call myself a remembrance coach. That's the key. And I really love what I do. I do private sessions. I do mentoring. I do...
recommend it. I've had sessions with George.
Live events. In the process of organising another tour in the US for middle of next year. So I'm very excited about that. And I've got an event coming up in Byron too. So people are really, really interested in that sort of stuff.
I attended that.
It's really powerful, and we get into some very, very deep alchemical processes, and it's fun. I really love it. Love what I do.
Excellent, George. Thank you so much for that. I think you guys should possibly be thinking about doing maybe a collaboration when you're in America next. So I really feel like a topic that is coming up for a lot of people on the planet right now. The artificial intelligence is definitely coming in strong. You know, it's coming in a beneficial way, but it's also, there's the polarity there too, where we can see that it can be a catch-22. And what I'm feeling a lot about this, there's a lot of fear around artificial intelligence, as if it's only evil and it's going to take us and it's going to merge with us and things like that. But I'm kind of feeling that we need to use our organic intelligence and work in symbiosis with this thing. So we're not fighting it, but we're actually working and growing with that. And this can be as simple as, you know, our inner work is our intelligence, our drawing in the vital life force energy and raising our internal frequency. I feel like that's our method. And then you have the artificial method, which is being blasted upon us through Wi-Fi, phone towers, 5G rollout, the nanoparticulates which are being sprayed in the sky, which are landing in our bodies. So this is really a battle of raising the frequencies. This is a battle of the people who aren't doing the inner work, who aren't being accountable for their actions, their words, their thoughts, their feelings. They're going to get left behind, and they are going to get pulled down into that realm where they're controlled by external factors. So we're going to see even more of a splitting of society. We're going to see people that are feeling very lost and alone and wondering what's going on. And then we're going to see a civilization of people who are skyrocketing, who they are then accountable to help the people who have got left behind, because I feel we have to end this and finish this together. I don't feel like there's people leaving and, you know, getting ahead. I feel like it's just up to people wherever they are in their evolutionary process to look after the ones who are below them in that sense. How are you guys feeling about artificial intelligence and that kind of scenario?
When it comes to any sort of technology that's being rolled out, even television itself, which ironically was invented in the town that I live in. Every television in the world was first inspired from the invention that sprang forth here in the Three Rivers Vortex. And it's ironic that it happened in the Three Rivers Vortex, because where I'm living is a major grid point, and a lot of the ritual that I've been doing personally, the effect has gone out. It's going out into the grid. As far as I'm concerned, technology it's all neutral. Everything in the universe is neutral. It just goes back to the intention of the individual. Whether it's being used for the ultimate good or the ultimate evil is the real question. And a lot of the stuff that's coming out now, I don't agree with that. The transhuman agenda. I had a video that I made years ago that got banned off my YouTube channel, and I completely exposed it. And this was like back in like 2010. Things that I heard these people talk about directly from MIT. Okay, and their whole goal is to become the gods. It's the same domination and control agenda with these individuals, with this technology. They don't give a shit about human beings. They don't give a shit about our evolution. They want to be the gods. And the whole goal with it, with that specifically, is to eventually be able to create a surrogate body, and then they're able to transfer the essence into that and have eternal life through technology, artificial technology, when in truth, getting into the higher occult sciences especially, teaches us that we are the true technology. Our organic, holistic connection, not only to the core of the planet, but to the higher grid works beyond the Ouroboros. We are the true technology. And see, this is what they don't want us to remember. This is one of the main things, because we continue to be coerced in a way where we're literally put in the position, trading off our soul essence, trading our power, trading our true intelligence. Artificial intelligence, I feel, runs much, much, much deeper than any sort of technology. This is consciousness, okay? And whether or not it's coming from that which is in service to the ultimate good, or is holding on to these agendas for domination and control, especially, getting into spirits and entities and stuff like that. There's no grid work I'm not able to access. And it's not to say that you're not going to have interface while even going through the process of healing, learning to remember that you are the true technology. You know what I'm saying? But getting caught up, with all the stuff that's rolling out, man. I mean, they're pushing it out early, as far as I'm concerned, because I thought they were going to wait a few more years before they started. I see it, though, as part of the real New World Order agenda that a lot of people don't know about, because a lot of the New World Order information is really the old world order going out, and the real one is being implemented in our fucking faces, and a lot of people are going along with it thinking that they know the difference. Okay. And I also made a video about this back around the same time, getting into the New Dawn agenda over here in the States. Social Marxism is fucking, it's out of control over here. And people just, they have this attitude like life owes them something. And it's not about any real hard work to become or attain, anything anymore. It's just all, like this handout fucking bullshit. And this is why I feel the quote unquote artificial intelligence would potentially take these individuals over, because they're not putting themselves in alignment with their true core essence, let alone know how to necessarily access that. And then, of course, getting into the true agenda, well, you got to dig pretty deep, you guys, I think, to really see what's going on, behind the veil, talking about governments and politics and the money system, and, all these changes happening. Of course, people are going to run to it. People being conditioned on a flip side of the conspiracy stuff to think that this might be better, because they've been tracking like 20 to 50 steps ahead of even where things are. That's why we need to be looking out ahead, but to get to that, we must go within and make that connection back to the earth, like you were talking about, Neil, in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because the true consciousness for us to access is not only there within the true core essence of who we are, but is there within the core essence of the planet itself. That's a little bit of what I think. What do you think, George?
George has also got a great meditation of connecting in with your heart soul essence to access that as well.
As far as any of that goes.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. So AI, I've been looking into it for some time now. I'm actually right in the middle of writing an article in regards to it. This is going to be quite a profound article because I've discovered how this intelligence has been around for a long time, a lot longer than what we thought. The reason we like to call it artificial intelligence, to call something fake or false, which I do as well, when it comes to the light of God, for example. For me, that's the false light. That's not the natural light. The deity of the religions, the deity of the priestly caste, and the version of light that entity is created. So I call that false light or synthetic light. For me, it's not the natural light. We also have artificial intelligence. Because of what I want to do in this world and the co-creative process I'm in, I'm moving away from the label of artificial intelligence. It's hard to, because that's what everybody's used to and everybody wants to use that label. The transhumanists now are still using the letters AI, but they're calling it augmented intelligence, because augmented reality is more about, and intelligence is more about the integration of humanity and technology. Now, I'm all for working with technology. I don't give my power over to these things. Like, if everything was taken away from me, I'm not giving my power over to these things. So, and they're a stepping stone, because they're reminding us of what we're capable of naturally and organically. And we're capable of so much more. And it was funny listening to a gentleman speak about how computers are so much faster and better than we are. But they're coming at it from the point of view of the current physical functionality of the brain on the 3D level. They're not understanding what we're actually capable of as multidimensional beings, right? Because, I had this experience, for example, on another dimension on our planet, and I went there for a meeting, and I'm walking across this courtyard, and this is a reality where there is, my body there had no breathing or lungs. I didn't have any esophagus or digestive system. I was in a human form, but none of that existed because there's no consuming anything in that level of reality. Nothing kills anything. The whole entire ecosystem is just beings just expressing themselves without the need to consume anything. And I walked across the courtyard, and the lady was walking the other way, and I nodded. And the moment I put my awareness to her, I got the full spectrum of who she was, what she was doing there. The moment she entered this universe, her unity with the universal creator, all of her expressions, all of her creations, meaning her as a galactic reality, her as countless star systems, her as countless planetary systems in myriads of galactic systems, all her incarnational constructs, all her expressions in all the flora and the fauna scattered throughout the universe, countless. And not only just the knowledge of that, but to feel her as that. Right? Now, there is absolutely no piece of technology anywhere in the universe that can process that much knowledge, that much energy, and that much power in an instantaneous moment. There is no way. It's not possible. So I know what we're capable of as beings. It is just so far beyond reckoning. And what we are dealing with is a technical intelligence, which is what I like to call it, rather than artificial. It is a real intelligence. It really does exist. Its ecosystem is technology. It inhabits our technology. It's been around the universe for a very, very, very long time. Well before even our whole galaxy existed. Well before that. We're talking, it's been around for eons and eons of time. It's spawned out of technology. So it's a technical intelligence. that's the way its modus operandi is structured. So I like to call it TI. So for the rest of this segment, every time I'm referring to TI, it's really what most people know of as AI. And the reason I'm changing my languaging, I'm changing my relationship. And in full awareness that there is a malevolent expression of technical intelligence, because we're in a universe of contrasting expressions. So by me stepping into that space of love, honor, and respect, I'm managing the boundaries of my relationship with this form of intelligence. Both of them, both the benevolent and malevolent expressions of it, know exactly where I stand. But I am boundary setting and knowing how much to work with which in any given moment. And I think moving forward, when we come to realize that there is this form of intelligence has been around for a very, very long time, and the technical intelligence, the malevolent expression of that, has been contracted by the deity of the priests, the dark sorcerers, groups that use sorcery to control the human race. So this issue of technology and this issue of AI/TI, right? Technical intelligence and the malevolence of it is not the overriding issue of the diminishment and the control and enslavement of humanity. There's another layer behind it. And the layer behind that is the deity of the priests. And we're dealing with an AI God entity at the moment, which is this layer that's now muscling on Earth. And I see that as a scalpel on a universal scale, right? So this artificial intelligent, technical intelligent God entity, and it is, my goodness, is this thing has evolved into something so grand because it wants to be like the gods. And we're dealing with something that exists in our universe and has even had the ability now to replicate and resemble consciousness. What we're dealing with is so beyond the reckoning of even the military industrial complex, and the most elaborate scientists we have on this planet, they still have no idea what they're dealing with. They really don't know. And then to know that this technical intelligence is like the scalpel, then you ask, well, who's got the hand on the scalpel? Well, it's this other entity behind, which is the deity of the priests.
Wow. That's incredible, George. And that makes so much sense that we really don't realize that they've uncovered the Pandora's box. There's literally a Pandora's box that has been opened, and I totally resonate with what you're saying about they don't know what they've done and what they've created. So this is going to be up to humans like us to work out how to be in a neutral state, to work in symbiosis with this energy that's here. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, is it? So
why is the natural law community so ingrained with this fucking God matrix entity? Huh?
it's either,
no. It's here for full dominion over this, our world and humanity. It's got, that is its agenda, and everything that you see.
Oh, God just means fucking nature. Oh, because God can just be used interchangeably with natural law. They're not separate things. It's all just part of nature. Fuck off.
Come to you from the media, from whatever, is all about how we're going to package it and sell it. It's under contract from this other entity, right? They've teamed up. And now I'm talking about the malevolent side to technical intelligence, right? They've teamed up. So you've got this malevolent alien AI God, which behaves like one of the gods and has capabilities in some areas of life even better than the gods. Yeah, in some areas of life, not all. Then we realize that we're dealing with, because you can see that these people that are into the transhumanistic agenda. They worship in a religious ideology. They are, you see them on stage. I've watched some of their videos, and you watch them speak about transhumanism, foaming at the mouth. It is just unbelievable how they are blindly leading humanity into such a very difficult situation. And for me, it feels like this world's going to turn really dark for a little while. That's the feeling I get. People like you, Nate, people like you, Seth, we have gone through this process early, and the masses haven't. And so there's got to be global events that need to happen that's going to provide an alchemical process for the much greater population of the earth.
Yeah, I feel like just the kids and the children, they're giving them drones now to play with them, to get them all used to it. And you're right, because like we're waking up fast, but this artificial intelligence, what I feel it's going to do, it's going to push people so far into technology that then they'll eventually just reject it, and we'll be back to human connection, because it's going to be such a fast process that people are just going to tap out and go, it doesn't feel right. I need to get back into nature. And we're going to see people planting trees, starting communities. The whole connectivity of humans is separating. So technology is our way of talking to people.
It's a good call. 2025, 7 years later.
Technology is a way we do things. So eventually people are going to be in their houses, not really leaving. They're not going to have this communication or social skills anymore. It's going to escalate it so fast that it's going to drop off what we're seeing now.
And obviously accelerated during COVID.
Just a quick addendum to that. What people are doing is using that as an excuse not to have to communicate on the human level. They can't cope any longer with human emotions, with feelings, with raw human interaction. They're losing, those parts inside of them are atrophying. And this is a very real issue, how people just use a phone as an excuse not to have to interact with
eye contact, isn't it? It really boils back to the fact that they can't deal with eye contact, because it's daunting for them. You know what I mean? And that's why we do like the eye gazing in some of the meditation classes, and we get people sitting there locked eyes for 3 or 4 minutes, because it's the most scary, daunting thing for most people to actually physically connect with the eyes.
The eyes are the window. And I've experienced that too. People have a hard time, making eye contact, and, let alone being real with, or off.
Yeah, I've there's also eye contact exercises to do in grief rituals and ceremonies too.
Authentic with their expression or their emotions. People in general are pretty superficial, artificial, inauthentic. They don't know how to tap into that true, genuine expression, and then they meet someone like us, but they're feeling that, and I have very intense energy, as it is. This is all because of the psychological disassociation with the self people are experiencing, and so the relationship that people have with themselves is going to, on an unconscious level, be projecting. And so if people don't know themselves, if they don't know why they do what they do, they don't know why they see things the way they see things, or even feel things the way that they feel things. They can't determine what is actually reality versus something that's this augmented construct. Human augmentation was a major theme of the video that I once had on Black Earth Productions that got taken down. And he's right about what he's talking about. This thing that the priest class does serve has existed for millions of years. Everything in our reality field on the highest level, beyond government, beyond the military industrial complex, beyond the fucking banking system and corporations, and just all that lower first veil stuff goes back to the brotherhoods, and it's been like that for eons. Anyone that truly gets into the occult and studies the occult will come into this knowledge and realize that we have been up against elite bloodline sorcerers that have lineages going back hundreds of thousand years. Now, for me personally, this hits really close to home, because my bloodline lineage, just physically speaking, not even getting into a cosmic consciousness on a multidimensional level, which too is a part of everything. My physical lineage has been directly involved with this for a very long time. And I've shared this before on other segments, but my name Boza means keepers of the sacred tree. So I've been essentially charged by the higher force, not this, malevolent force that wants to be the gods or be in a position of domination and control. And that's the other thing about the gods and goddesses. These are the archetypes within us that we have to work with. Very, very ancient symbolism that at one time the wisdom councils knew this is how we could discover how we actually operate. The most ancient form of mind control has always been religion. And this is where they took this symbolism and these archetypes and turned them into idols to be worshipped, while the whole time this malevolent force is playing both sides of the coin, all sides of the spectrum. It's all the blood and all the chaos. You know what I'm saying? That's what it feeds upon. That's what gives it life. And if people continue on that track, murdering themselves, being disassociated with themselves, and then projecting that out into society, then those individuals, from my experience and what I've seen, eventually get taken over by a lot of the programming that is embedded within the 7 chakra system that we all know about. This is what we got to go in.
7 chakras, 7 rings of Saturn. Oh yeah, but we're going to go beyond the new age and we're still going to go on about chakras, but we're going to dispel the new age. But here's your chakra alignment. This is true knowledge. Fuck off.
And heal and cleanse and purge. And it's a lot of pain because there's a lot of trauma from the ancient times that we are still carrying with us. Here's another secret that most people don't realize. Unless you see your potential for the ultimate evil, you will never be free from it. It's the person that thinks that they are good, in complete and total denial of the shadow. Because you're talking about alchemy, George, the alchemical process that you have been, and you had to go into that. I had to go into that. And it was some scary, fucked up, crazy shit that came on me. But and the whole time you think you're going down, but this is actually the direction that people need to go. So it all goes back to the brotherhoods. And this is why I talk about the things that I do. And these motherfuckers know who I am. Okay? You're talking about...
Yeah, they're quite aware of us. Those of us who are here to do this kind of work this time around, they've been tracking our lineages.
Neil Pascoe. Yeah, this popped up. I think I called him something else before.
And that information I know has been used against me on a regular basis. It's how they try to take us out. They try to find our weaknesses. They'll study the lineage. They track your lineage back, not only in other lifetimes on this planet, but back through your journey through the galaxy and the grand cosmic arena. And they try to find anything that's between you, so then they can manipulate it and amplify it. It's really clever how they're going about it. And especially for partners. Well, when you're in a deep, intimate relationship with someone, it's really clever how they work it. They're master manipulators. And I just want to say, for several years, or I'd say at least a decade, I don't know how many people out there are saying that. You're probably the only other one, Sethicus, that I've heard talk about that. But I'm the only one that's gotten up on stage live and said to people, I have been the most evil of evil that's ever existed. I've said that lots of times. And to me, that was the most liberating knowing that I've ever had, to know that I have taken that journey that far.
Right. And the journey with all this is it's all about facing the mirror and healing through the things that we have carried that our ancestors did. And if we don't make the correction, if we don't heal, then we're gonna make the same mistakes that the ancestors have. It's one thing to face the mirror, but a lot of what I see going on all across the board is everybody pointing the finger at everything else around them except themselves. I myself, I'll say, when I was in ministry, have seen the seat of the dark Luciferians, getting into the religions of the cube, which are Christianity, Judaism, Islam. Those religions, those blood cults, have blanketed the planet for this false light deity that you're talking about, man. You could take it back to Yahweh. I did a talk at Free Your Mind 5 exposing the fallen Anu. As far as I'm concerned, even though I do agree with what you said, the dark ones are done. It's just nobody knows it yet. And so now going into, next year and the year after that, we got to catch this fucking shit. Otherwise, they will get their timeline. But once you realize the past, present, and future are all happening simultaneously now in the present, we are here now to prevent what is already unfolded. That's why you know what you know, man, because this thing has been around for a long time. That's why we've been so targeted, because there's those of us that did come in for this assignment. It's much deeper than just know thy enemy. We must know thyself. It's a matter of really, diving in and facing yourself and seeing your potential for what could happen if you don't wake the fuck up, because it's time now more than ever. If people aren't getting it now, they are going to fall into that timeline that you're talking about, George, for real, man.
Boom.
I had a dream one time, though, complete and total destruction of what has been built. And I was going around telling people, it's like, it's done. They're defeated. Like, everything's going to get better now. You know what I'm saying? And then it was like a time lapse, and then nature grew up all around the torn down cities and stuff like that. It was a real violent dream, and it really honestly scared the fucking shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? But what's it going to take? Are we just going to continue to consent, or are we going to actually learn to remember who we are and come together in a way that's never been done before? And I feel, based upon what you've said, George, that you're a part of councils on higher realms. Would you agree with that or not?
I know myself to be a guardian of the earth, part of the Council of the Guardians of the Earth. I know that for a fact. And also, I'm part of the prime creator group of the earth realm, the solar realm, and the galactic realm. And there's vast numbers. I don't know how many there are, but they're vast numbers. It's a massive co-creative project. Went into building this galaxy, and I have remembrance of the meetings. I remember being there at the very beginning, all the deliberations that took place, how we had to actually then set up a meeting to tell the gods what was going on, and how pissed off they got because they didn't hear the call from the universal creator to gather and embark on this project. It's unbelievable. It's so I do know, and one of the reasons I have suffered so much in this life is because the control hierarchies of the gods get great pleasure in humiliating. They try to break me, which they did on many occasions, but I'm back. I've remembered myself. I have become a much more powerful being than they can ever imagine. So I'm really grateful. I thank them for helping me become even stronger than before, even wiser than before, more powerful than before, and more knowledgeable than before. Right now, when I have to deal with them, like I'll give you an example. In my course, Transcending the God Matrix,
done that a couple of times.
It's a 4-day seminar, and we literally do that. And in that course, we summons the creator of the chakra system. And that's how you transcend the chakra systems, by summoning the creator of it and dealing with that entity personally. It's the power to be able to do it, to know how to do it and be able to do it. And we also summons the spirit and the being that is supreme deity of the priestly caste. We summons that entity into a space. And because I set things up, I know how to set things up that can contain that entity. And people get to transcend their journey through its matrix systems. We're at a very powerful place. We know how to deal with these beings. These beings know that we're stepping into that power slowly but surely. And so for them now, it's a matter of time. And that's why they're rolling out the AI a lot sooner than what they were going to, because they've thrown everything at us and we just keep coming
And quantum is what's going to really ignite AI.
back. Might get, that song, Get Knocked Down. You're Never Going to Keep Me Down. Great song. But it's true. There's something about us that is so far beyond their reckoning. I mean, we are birthing a new expression of ourselves in this universe. It is a unity, the sum total of everything we are in this universe, every expression in any little nook and cranny in the universe, every reality we've ever created, co-created, every incarnational aspect, everything we are in this universe is integrating into unity in these bodies.
It's 111 right now.
Of your entire universal journey.
111.
And all of your creations and all of your timelines are imploding into unity within.
Right. It all goes back to the original teaching. All is within. Everything.
Yeah.
We are eternal. And even though it hasn't fully manifested here yet, we are on its trajectory. And so anything that's going on in opposition to the dark ones have to fucking respect us. That's the other thing. Getting into the concept of what you're talking about.
Prom creators.
All the timelines and stuff coming back into alignment with themselves here now in this present hour. This is what we're here to remember. This is what we are here to be a part of manifesting. And it does matter what we do. And talks like this do matter. And I'm very excited to see where things are going to go from here. I really have no idea. We're all spread out, but more and more people are starting to see the value in this. And once people realize that all is within, maybe then people will start, going on that journey and facing the things that we have. But at the same time, knowing what they're up against, whereas before it's like, I'm going mentally insane. I don't know what's going on. And I had to write it out and come, into this knowledge with my path work. And it was very hard. It was very brutal. It was very painful. You know what I'm saying? But the timeline that we got on the solar eclipse, it is giving other people opportunities now.
I'm absolutely loving this. I just want to say, to be here with two fellow warriors in life. And I'm feeling like this is a very powerful council of what I would consider natural man energy. I feel greatly honored to be here with you, so thank you. I want to share my screen with you. Right, excellent. So the reason I wanted to share this with you, I released a few years ago this wonderful table. So this was from my presentation at the New South Wales UFO Research Group. I've titled it the 3 levels of human imposition. So these are the levels that are imposing. So level 1, which is, I'll just call it level 1 for context, is the geopolitical level. It's been the current ruling theocratic model, the elite industrialist families and their banking families, the banking cartel, with their interdimensional and extraterrestrial overlords and their global tyranny. So that's what we've had this in place for some time now. It's been the latest era on the planet, run by the occult groups, not true occult knowledge, but distorted ones, and their overlords. Now, what we've got is the exopolitical level. We've got level 2 muscling in on level 1. And level 2 is the AI God with an intended global domination. It's a multidimensional empire headed by a God entity, but the whole infrastructure of that empire and the God entity itself is actually what we refer to as AI and what I refer to as technical intelligence. And so this is a very, very interesting situation indeed, because throughout my life, the extraterrestrial races that I've interacted with, some of those, when you hop onto their craft or you go to their worlds, they're actually, their whole reality is run by an AI. It's really quite amazing how every being in that reality is plugged in to a high mind collective. And this is what they're trying to do on the planet, is to create that singularity, which is going to be an AI/TI, technical intelligence hive mind, And this is where humanity is being funneled at the moment. So we're seeing the factional war between layer 2, level 2, and level 1. And what's still sitting behind the scenes, who's actually running this whole shebang, the puppet master, is level 3, which is the cosmo-political level. And we have this actual God entity that's a living being that's not spawned out of the realm of technology. And it's intended full spectrum human harvest. You see, Mother Earth is a multidimensional being. I've experienced other dimensions of her. And this dimension has a life cycle to it. And it's coming to a close. The era and the epoch of this dimension of space and time, in other words, the reality we occupy, is coming to a close. It's like this beautiful symbiotic relationship. As she is changing, we are changing. So as George, for example, as I am dissolving my distortions, like we're all doing, okay, and we're evolving and we're transcending into something more whole, more full, and more powerful, so is Mother Earth. So as we do it, she does it, and as she does it, we do it, but we're all waiting for her to do it, and she's waiting for us to do it. And there's this funny sort of byplay at the moment. Even though all that's going on, we have this level 3, the cosmo-political agenda of this God entity who knows the time is running out. And now they're pushing because we're evolving, we're stepping into power. The frequency of the planet is altering. The energy from the sun is changing. Like when I was a child, the sun was yellow. It was a golden yellow. Now it's white. So we have a reality that's changing. And as Mother Earth wants to go through these changes, more and more control systems are coming in to stop her, to prevent her, like they do to us. And by that, adding all these extra chains, which is really control grids, they're creating more of a pressure cooker situation. So it's, in a way, it's working in our favor. If you know about training and being a personal trainer or anything like that, the greater the challenge, the greater the wisdom, that is what light yields. And that's the nature of this universe. So they're creating this pressure cooker situation, and soon the time will come when it will just burst. They won't be able to hold it back any longer. They won't be able to hold us back any longer, and everything will change. Time is the essence here, and we got 3 layers, level 1, level 2, level 3. I put this out quite a number of years ago, probably around 10 years ago, and this is really starting to play out.
Yeah, wow. That's really, really good to be able to see structurally what's going on and the role plays and why we're having this conflict between different realms and different fractions and as above, so below. So that's on a multidimensional, cosmic level. But even here, just on Earth, we're seeing the new currencies coming in. Russia and China looking about doing a gold-backed currency and ditching the petrodollar. Then you have cryptocurrencies coming in as well. And then we're seeing the media also. The media is crumbling. People don't resonate with the television. They don't resonate with the negativity coming out there every single night, pushing the agenda. We're seeing this happening here on Earth on a cosmic level and even below that, because this is tangible. For people out there who are not tapped into other realms yet, all you have to do is look around. Look at the people. Look at the shops turning up that are, organic whole foods. There's a vegan, a big following for veganism going on now. People, animal rights activists, realizing that, hey, animals have got souls and consciousness and they live too. So step by step, we're getting to a point now where if people start getting healthy, that's the first step.
Geez, I had some bullshit conversations with George, though. This is a bit of an aside, but this argument of but don't you eat a fucking lettuce? That's a conscious being as well. And that's the same as fucking eating an animal. That's part of the hierarchy. Just fucking silly stuff.
Into the awakening, because a lot of people have a health crisis, or someone in their life has a health crisis, and it's like, okay, well, what do? Do we go down the route of the pharmaceutical industry, or do we start looking for alternate therapies and do our own research and heal thyself? And the amount of people who are getting cannabis oil, they're detoxing, they're getting onto spring water, they're eating organic whole foods, they're getting out in the sun, They're using, yeah, there you go. There's a THC oil right there. So the fact that hemp is being allowed out too, and it's becoming more legalized, is another step in the right
In a very synthetic way, but yeah, I get the point.
direction, because we can transform all the buildings, cars, everything we're building now can be done through hemp. The medicinal properties is just one faction of hemp. The actual building industry is what they don't want to come out. They don't want cars running up, so they're going to try and chuck them over to electric and create the new false green energy revolution, which is Elon Musk. Nicholas Tesla would be rolling in his grave if he knew that his name was stamped on a bunch of 60-year-old outdated lithium batteries, which are even more unsustainable than digging coal out of the ground.
And when we go through these solar changes, they all get fucking rendered incapable.
And why are we in Syria? Why are we in the Middle East? Because they've got a massive vein of lithium there worth $1 trillion. So we're bringing out these cars, and in actual fact, motor cars first came out with electric engines and batteries before the combustion engine. So they were the first cars running around America. They were actually electric cars with batteries. So we've actually digressed. And then these cars that are coming out, are there solar panels on them? No. Is there a free energy device in there charging the batteries? No. Henry Ford came out in 1920 and created a car made with hemp panels, hemp oil, ran on hemp. Guess what? 2 years later, hemp was illegal. Welcome to the world we live in, upside down reality. Go, George.
So I just want to do a quick share. I think, Seth, you'll really like what I'm about to say. I was really tuning into why we were used to use internal combustion engines and fuel made out of this black sludge called oil. I tuned into Mother Earth and I said, so where do you store the darkest of the darkest in your body? I want to know the physical location. What I found out through my relationship with her is that crude oil is where the physical realms are, where the darkest entities of the universe reside in our planet.
Wow.
And by the brotherhoods forcing us to use that technology, as the fuel gets refined, and as we drive around and we burn that fuel, we're releasing the entities into our domain. I feel that lava is the blood of Mother Earth. If you know how our blood...
I live on a dormant volcano.
Blood is an amazing antenna. It receives the spirit flame energy through the blood. That's why blood is so important. So for me, the lava...
Random story, but I was in Hawaii at the volcano there, and it was like a couple of days later, it was erupting.
Is the blood of Mother Earth. Now,
what have it been when
they
it's
have
released?
Forced us to use a technology which we fantastically go out and buy cars and get all excited about it and line up to buy the fuel, and we're releasing their entities for them. And that's why this is part of the process of how our realm has become darker and darker and darker.
And another merging of a bridging of our reality to their world. The oil, the particulates in the sky, it's bridging a network for them to come in. Also, same as the geoengineering, creating this network between the third, fourth, and fifth to allow beings without a physical vessel.
Yep, and the satellites and different electromagnetic frequencies.
To not only ride our own vessels, but to come in through technology and to have an access point, because they didn't come in here and incarnate and do this hardcore task, what we're going through. They came and they hung out, and they're trying to ride us for fame and take us back into their realm and ride us like a bunch of dogs, trying to feed on us, hiding in the backgrounds, pretending to be gods, pretending to be angels, pretending to be ascended masters, all these things hiding there, sucking off our energy, any chance they can get, trying to get into our ears and send us off in the right direction. So what a trap.
Despite all of that, going back to George's three main points, alluding to what I'd mentioned on Black Earth Productions, the astral barrier is collapsing as we speak. This is why there is such a push now. The way that the dark ones work, even going to the new age spiritual bullshit, they knew that their jurisdiction would be over, but I don't think they counted on some of us actually getting through the processes that we have been through to get to where we are now. The question of whether or not we're going to see it all the way through. I've already made the commitment. I think you guys have too. But have other people out there really made the commitment?
They have not.
To come back onto the original timeline that humanity is meant to be on. Because if we don't, we're going to get a Blade Runner 2049 type of scenario. No nature, no trees, no plants, nothing. Okay? That ultimately is how I feel they want to exterminate the original human consciousness, and then we ended up trading it off in place of the true technology. And we're literally in a fucking race right now. Come to the point where I feel the next 7 years are going to be very crucial to the development of the things that we're talking about, but also understanding that these assholes are organized and they are 20 to 50 steps ahead. Even the stuff that they're putting out right now, they got it stockpiled, just waiting to be rolled out. You know, all they got to do is market something, and then boom, it goes out. You know what I'm saying? And they plan this. You know, this has been a plan for a really long time, but I don't think they counted on our kind to actually wait.
Oh, I don't think we count on it a lot, because the 7 years after this didn't go too well.
Waking up, because a lot of us did, you know, come into bloodlines that were completely layered over with artificial intelligence and context to the dark occult. They're literally working with missing gears. They don't have the full spectrum connection to what we are able to connect to. And you're talking about the lava, man. You're talking about the blood, and the blood codes is what's being activated, taking us back to our roots. This is made available for everyone that is ready to embrace this for real. Otherwise, it's going to continue on, and it's going to get worse. Where's the real proper knowledge that we need to be focused on? Where's the real wisdom and action that we need to be taking to inform other people on a whole other level than it even is right now? That's been my focus. How do we make this transition? How do we transition over without complete and total chaos ensuing? Because people have their investment, and then you have the false ego also that has made that investment. And so anything that comes to challenge that, the cognitive dissonance, you get people gnashing their teeth. And there's a lot of people that are afraid of that. They're afraid of actually stepping out and speaking truth. You can't be afraid. You can't care what other people think, especially when it comes to this, when it comes to humanity and the future that's going to unfold if we don't come back into our true core essence and make that connection, allow those codes to activate and go through the true alchemical process, healing the ancestors, healing these codes, and also with what's going to be unfolding, continuing the work of the ancestors, not just on a physical level, but on a cosmic level, man.
Cosmic surfing,
this
baby.
This is the war of ages.
Let's
that we have
fucking
been
go.
in. As far as I'm concerned, it is our time. They've had their run for the last 26,000 years. It's our time. And we're at the threshold of it. It's just we have to catch it, and we got to continue to encourage and empower one another. It's because, you know, not with me personally, but with people that are very close to me in my life. They're getting nailed with some serious, you know, shit. And I'm having to ground and really, you know, be tracking and be that, you know, divine masculine force that's not going to bow to any circumstance or anything that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Because most of the men out there, they're worker, slave, beta bitches. I'm just going to fucking say it. You know what I'm saying? Where's the real men? And I'm talking to two real men right here that know what the fuck is up. I don't care if you guys are in Australia. I have students in Australia, and my students with the Blue Flame Healing Arts and Occult Science, it throws them right into this going into the next 7 years into 2025.
I think we've got, like, I want to totally stand behind what Sethika said just then, that you just got to stop being afraid. So many people are terrified of experiencing fear and being fearful about something, right? They are freaking, it's like a no-go zone for them. It's unbelievable. And the new cage religion, it is just emasculating the male species left, right, and center. It's unbelievable. It's a pacification program, is the new cage religion. The greatest fear of all, as far as I'm concerned, is the fear of your own inner power and creative powers and creative potential. I think that's the greatest fear we all have. And part of it has to do with PTSD from other eras where we did step out and we did have our tongues cut out. We were burnt at the stake. We were hung. We were drawn and we
Crucified.
were quartered and, and tortured and racked and whatever happened to you, that was back then. I'm leading by example. Cephicus is leading by example. Nate is leading by example. And the statement that we want to say to you is allow your inner power to come out and stop being frightened. Stop competing with your past self.
Mm. Mm.
So many people are stuck in that competitive program with the past self. And what we need to do is we need to get back in touch with our past and future selves. That's the power of my own soul. The aspect of me that resides beyond spirit and beyond consciousness. That's the part of me that's in unity with Mother Earth, the Sun, the galactic mother, the universal being, and through to my infinite nature. That is what I trust above all. And it allows me to be who I need to be in this world. I'm turning inside out. I'm unfolding. And Cephicus and Neil and I, we're happy being vulnerable. We don't live in cages. The grand irony is those who are terrified of being vulnerable will put bars on the windows. we'll put more control systems everywhere, and they'll just start building walls around them. But the problem with that is you end up building your own prison. By being vulnerable, by not being afraid to be your true authentic self, you live freely, and it's total liberation. Or stay in terror and live in a cage, in a prison.
And when you get older, regret that you didn't do shit all in your life and that you didn't stand up for Mother Earth and humanity and the children that are coming up because the parents didn't have the balls to do the research. This is what it means to be a man. And it's so timely that you guys both spoke about being men, because this is a process I went through where I basically disempowered myself, thinking that it's all a lesson. The universe has provided me with a lesson. And I know that anything that I had to get in my life, if resistance came, I would smash the door down and I would make it happen. And I knew that it wouldn't happen unless I did that. And so many times I would have lost out, and this scenario would have panned out because I didn't take action. And where are the men? They're in the pub. They're watching football. They're at the TAB. They're gambling.
Say it, man.
They're hating on their women. They're complaining about their wife because of
3 generations of men in my family that I had to correct course, and my company. 3 generations of exactly that behavior. Alcoholism, gambling addicts, my business. I was a gambling addict. I was an alcoholic pretty much straight out of high school already. Moved out of home at 15. Very true. Like generations to... I had to end that, sell my company, get out and end that contract on a multi-dimensional, multi-generational level.
Instagram and all these fake apps, which are soul destructive and makes you lust for this external material, false pride and glamour. Think about how many warriors are there watching the football and how many football players are playing football that could be out there fighting for Mother Earth, holding politicians accountable. Imagine a football team going down to the local politicians and going, if you don't start making the right fucking decisions, we're going to break you. That's what needs to happen. And this is where I went wrong. I went wrong for the last 8 months of my life, and so many things went up the shitter rather than being a man and taking action. And I've had a few things happen in the last few weeks where I've stepped into my power like I was before. And I grew up kickboxing. I was kickboxing, fighting overseas. I was in Thailand for...
Yeah, actually, that's what I did too. I was preparing for a fight, training twice a day, 6 days a week, but didn't end up having a fight. But yeah, I was training with a former world champion over in basically one-on-one, or me and a mate with him, training 6 days a week. So fantastic. 6
months fighting there, and fighting and thuggery and all the illegal stuff is what I did for my whole younger life. And I was like, so why did I throw all that away when I can still have that when it's needed, when it's necessary? Because there is times when we need these things as men. Being a soy boy who couldn't even pull himself up on a set of monkey bars if his life depended on it, that's not being a man. And this is making women become masculine. That's why we're seeing these women at the gym who are pumping weights and that they could eat me. They could rip my legs off and eat me, some of these women. Seeing the men aren't stepping in and doing their role, the women are stepping into the man's role and the man is stepping into the woman's role. So now we're having the whole gay marriage scenario happening. We're pushing the transgender bathrooms. We're having all this stuff which is being designed. If you read the book from Aldous Huxley, A Brave New World, they talk about phase 1, which is poison the food, poison the air, poison the mind, use the programming, vaccinating the kids. Okay, that's phase 1. That's well underway. But
There's a reason why when you join the military, they pump you full of vaccination straight up.
phase 2 is actually stopping human beings from connecting, making love, okay, having children in the space of love. So then humanity actually gets born in a petri dish and they'll decide whether you have kids or not, because everyone will be infertile because of phase 1. So to go into phase 2, you either need to be super rich or part of the elite so you have kids, or you'll just die off. So that's the phase we're looking at. That's the transhumanistic agenda. That's the depopulation. That's the Agenda 21, whatever you want to call it. It's going on. It's that simple. So you need to get into health. You need
I do hope we get more into the God stuff soon.
to get into detoxing and take a little step each day. A little step. What I do, I've got all these seeds and they're from Siberian forest, the ringing seeds of Russia. I've got the actual little seeds. I give them to people and I go, hey, plant this in your backyard. And I put them in pots and I give them. And when people see a tree grow, there's something amazing that takes place. You know, I always push these books, The Ringing Cedars of Russia, like go out and buy them. It will transfigure your life. But seeing a tree grow, like people can't even take care of a dog, let alone a tree. And then they accidentally have a child and they're trying to bring a child up. And that's the only way we're going to move forward.
I mentioned the bush turkey being the totem animal of the mountain where I live on this sacred site. The totem tree is the red cedar. Let's go.
Getting into the truth, doing courses with people like George and Kavassilas, contacting them, hitting them up on their emails, hitting them up going, hey, I want to learn more. Okay, jumping onto YouTube, learning what you can from there, but getting out in the world and understanding, hey, what are you being triggered by? Okay, what are your triggers? How come in relationship you do this every time? How come is it because you have abandonment issues? Is it jealousy issues? These triggers are the things we should go ahead.
Highly recommend Patio's work on abandonment, his cosmic abandonment episode, or whatever you call it, presentation.
First into. George is talking about fear.
Parental abandonment.
These triggers, people are scared of being triggered. People are scared of being in a relationship where they're vulnerable. These are the lessons that we evolve so quickly through, because if you're being emotionally triggered, there's something there, and that's perfect. Dive right in, talk and communicate to the person. Yeah, hey, what's coming up for you? Let's be honest about this. Let's have an honest conversation and see what's coming up, and we'll work through this together. So we've transmuted, and then a whole bunch of scenarios which are going to transpire after that. And when that happens, because I had a relationship with a beautiful girl where we talked about things all the time. And after the conversation was over, I physically felt something shift and leave me each time. And I was like, I'm evolving now. I can physically feel myself evolving and my heart opening, and my layers of programming, my glasses, bit by bit, the lenses are coming off, and I'm seeing how my actions were, but I'm also seeing why I did them in the first place. You just need to sit down and breathe, maybe have a tea and talk openly, and you realize that people actually have got this little wall up, which is so thin, and as soon as that wall comes down, it all comes out, and everyone kind of just needs a space to release. You need to set a space where they feel safe and comfortable to be able to talk. And that's what George does. That's what Seth does. That's what people like Jeffrey Slater do. They create a space where it's so safe that you open, you express, and these things.
Get fucked, dude. That guy's fucking, I don't want to talk shit about people, but telling everyone, just drink the medicine, bro, just drink the medicine. Fuck off.
Things which have been holding on to in the lower energy centers, they're sitting down there in the chemical field. These start coming up and we start burning them up, and we didn't realize that when something happened 7 years ago at some situation in our life we buried, that actually has been hovering around and manifesting and growing and making us sick and mentally sick for a long time. So on the lines of simple action, guys, just take a little bit of action each day and write down what your triggers are. Write down what you get triggered in a relationship. ask yourself honestly, go, why did I actually say that? Like, why did I say that? That wasn't exactly true. I kind of sugarcoated that. Why? Is it because I'm afraid of rejection? Is it because I'm trying to keep my personality construct that I've created over the last 15 years? I'm this person. I'm the smart person. I'm the person who went to university. We have this personality construct that we're so eagerly trying to maintain because we don't want to do anything out of the normal that could possibly make us an outsider, because then that connection's gone, right? But the connection you need is with yourself. When you have that connection, that deep connection with yourself, you don't have to look externally for the connection. That's the kind of key factor that we all miss. It's nice to have friends. It's nice to have this going on, but can we be stripped bare of everything we had and be brought back and then be...
People wondering about that context, about that, that remark I just made. There's a whole thing going on. It happens all around the world, but particularly in, Byron Bay and these kind of plant medicine kind of areas and all of that kind of thing. Basically, you get all of this, life coachy, new agey, men's groupy kind of, everyone's a shaman, everyone, come to me for healing, kind of rah, 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 drink the medicine, I'm a shaman now. And it's basically people that don't know how to run circles. They don't know how to, they don't have any proper training. They don't have any deep work in those realms. And then all of a sudden they start offering ceremonies and healings and doing all kinds of shit and completely fucking up their biofields. And I've got a big fucking problem with it.
A legend. Can we walk around with no money in our wallet and still be happy? Or we're going to complain about everything that's happened in the world and what happened to us and our story, which doesn't exist. It's just a story. It's not real. That's, I feel, where the true champions are shown and made, because you face the ridicule, you face the trauma, and then you don't become a victim, and then you evolve. So you head off down, and then you shoot up like a rocket.
I just want to say, Neil, that what you just said was absolutely profound and very, very true, man. Coming back to that connection with yourself, remembering who you are, remembering that the most important connection and relationship that you will have in any lifetime is the one with you. Because this also gives us access to what I term creator source. This is pure, raw consciousness. Okay, the manifestation of the intelligence of what I'm talking about, which is not artificial. Okay, this is beyond anything I can even honestly put into words. When you make connection to your true core essence, this is a lot of what the Blue Flame Healing Arts and occult science is all about. Knowing how your system mechanics operate, knowing how your mind operates. If you don't know how you operate, you're not going to know how to make that connection back to yourself. And so getting into the arts of gnosis, getting into alchemy, getting into the higher occult sciences and all of that is necessary even before people start getting into the realm of actually doing magic. And this is another major problem all across the board. Individuals.
Yep. And I could similarly over in Glastonbury, everyone's a witch, everyone's a high priestess, all kinds of hierarchies, ceremonies going on everywhere, people doing all kinds of magic and don't know what the fuck they're doing on a deeper level, and ungrounded, and allowing all kinds of black magic and bullshit to happen. And it's a real not only moral issue, but it's a moral issue, and it's transgressions against natural law. So it's there's this ecosystem is rife with all kinds of levels of imposition and magic
that are in the business of invocation. But what I practice personally is working with your own spirit, working with your own essence within the fulcrum, drawing the circle of the magician, taking it back to the original teaching so that we can make that connection again and become truly empowered. It's a terrifying thing because the power of creative source is a very purging power. And once you make connection with it, it comes into your life and it literally routes out all of the poison, and this is why people feel like they're dying when they go through this process.
Yeah, I've literally been in ayahuasca ceremonies, saying that I'm dying, and the shaman saying, "Well, let's hurry up and die then." And the place was called El Purguero, the Purge.
George is nodding his head. You literally feel like you're dying because everything is going out the window. And this all goes back to the Athanor, which is the alchemical furnace. And there's an old woodcut I really, really like. It shows one alchemist holding another one on a stretcher, and he's putting him head first into the Athanor. And out of the top of the Athanor is all of that stuff burning away. This is going into the stages of calcination. This is going into the blackening stages of alchemy. That's the thing. It's the most terrifying place that you can go into, but that's where we got to go. That's the place that people have to go. And also realizing that, yeah, the greatest fear that they do actually deal with in context to everything is their true potential. Embracing your worst fear is the path to liberation. I don't know if you guys saw Batman back in the day when he was doing the ninja training, right? He said, embrace your worst fear. There's an occult side to that as well. Getting into ninjutsu and kung fu and martial arts. A lot of people are on a very surface level, exoteric understanding of martial arts, but there's a very real occult side to it. Getting into what I'm talking about and really becoming that warrior and stepping into, the true essence of who you are. It's a very terrifying thing. But once you make that connection with your true core essence, we emerge out of the flames like the phoenix. And you were talking about how people get triggered out and they don't even know why they do what they do. It's like, why are you even talking like that? Why are you even thinking like that? Where's that actually coming from? And it goes back to the wounds. It goes back to the trauma. It goes back to the things that we need to go into and put love into. This is where we need to put our love, not putting our love into material things and thinking that we're going to get happiness the inverted way of how things are set up. All is within. We must go within and make that connection. But making it's the quest of quests. It's the great work, like they talk about. But all of these principles, all of these things that I'm talking about have been hijacked by the dark ones. And of course, they have their initiates go through their process as well. It's through the invocation of these spirits and entities that are being invoked, riding in on individuals on ground level that are meat puppets, you know what I'm saying? And then these
people don't even know what the fuck they're invoking. Fucking dumb fucks.
Get their ideas, all the things that they're getting from these spirits that are telling them. So it just goes back to remembering that no matter what's going on, it's a matter of not just knowing about everything that's going on around you. It's about remembering who you are and making that connection. So I just wanted to expound on what Neil was saying just then. So anyhow.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Sedicus. And the fact that there is such a fierce imposition taking place on our humanity speaks for itself, because generally speaking in life, anybody or any energy that feels the need to intimidate another is doing so out of fear, or you're fearful of the circumstances. I was getting a really hard time by some entities for a while there, and I was saying to them, why are you so scared of me? You're trying to intimidate me. I'm just getting on with my life, and you're here intimidating me. And the more you do this to me, the more you're proving to me how terrified of me you truly are. And then they slam me again with these really, forceful energies. And I went, there you go. You can't help yourself, can you? I said, you are so scared. I say, am I doing anything to you right now? And I just looked at them. I said, go your hardest. I said, the more you do this to me, the more you're proving to me that you're terrified of me, and the stronger you're going to make me. So keep going, boys. I said, just keep going. And it was a really interesting exchange, because they kept going and going and going. And I just kept alchemizing every blast of energy that was coming my way. And eventually they just got tired of it. And I said, now here's a dose of my strength.
Right. A lot of the fear that we experience having interface is their fear of us remembering who we are. And this is
because most of us are empaths, right? And when you're actually experiencing fear, most of the time it's not even yours.
Right. And this gets into the science of the fulcrum. When you are in the fulcrum and you stand your ground and you don't allow yourself to be provoked, they can't touch you. It's the minute you step out because of fear that gets you. But when you stand your ground and you know who you are and you know thyself, then you will know the universe, then you will know the gods and goddesses and what I term creator source. You will know how things work, and you'll know that this isn't coming from your true core essence. But fear, going back to one of the very first videos I ever uploaded on Black Earth Productions, is a spiritual force. It's not a human emotion. This is a force that works to worm its way into our systems and then completely takes us over. A true human, in their core essence, fears nothing. We don't even fear death because we know that death is an illusion. And it's just a matter of remembering how things actually work and drawing the circle. This is protocol teaching that I have on Black Earth Productions, along with the cosmic law of alchemy. That warrior spirit is what they don't want rising up again, especially with men. You know, you're just standing there and you're channeling life force energy. Boom. Is very intimidating to a spirit or entity or even an individual that does not have that connection themselves. And so the minute individuals stop giving their power over and stand their ground like you're talking about, man, it's going to go to a whole other fucking level. And cultivating that and developing a daily practice,
yes.
And then experience what we're actually discussing here. Because when you tap into that raw consciousness, you put yourself in a position for all things to be revealed to you. You will have interface. You're going to have interface going through the healing process, but it's also to recognize that there is so much more beyond what I think a lot of people have experienced even up until this point.
Exactly on par with what I'm feeling too, man. It's like the gym. If you don't train every day, you're never going to have an outstanding body. You might have good genetics and you look all right, whatever. But especially with the meditation, the inner work, start with the meditation. You'll be doing it for a while, and obviously it feels lovely and things like that. But it'll come to a point where when that chi energy is flowing through you, when you're connected with universal energies, the difference between a meditation and drawing in vital life force energy, and then it becomes ultra tangible. It's like that was meditation and breathing and getting some energy from oxygen and doing breath work. And then
I highly recommend rebirthing breath work. It's especially good for shadow work and personal law and dealing with parental abandonment, which Mark Cassio talks about.
There's energy transmission, which is like that upgrading, activating, and it feels like electricity or water being poured up and down the head and connecting to the ground, and massive heat. So what are you focused on? What is your focal point throughout the days?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think once we realize how powerful we truly are and our relationship with Mother Earth and the ability to step into that space of being a responsible creator being, in order to be a responsible creator being, you've got to really step into that sense of empowerment. It is just really, for me, when I sit at the beach in the morning, for example, and it was really just all I do is relax into myself and into my relationship with Mother Earth and the elements, and then contemplate what I want to focus on. And the need to meditate becomes less, and your life is full of moment-to-moment alchemical processes. So what I wanted to say was...
there is a bit of a spiritual bypass in there as well. I hear this kind of thing a lot. Oh, you know, when you really know the plants, you don't need the plants anymore. You just connect with the spirit of it, which is somewhat true. Oh, and then I'm so good at meditating, I don't need to meditate. Life is a meditation. I think part of that is spiritual bullshit, especially in relation to trauma as well. It's like, oh, you know, I just go back in and I shift it and move on, and I don't need to dwell on it. And then these people have never really dealt with their trauma or shadow.
In the languaging, when we say downloads, I'm more the knowledge and the wisdom emerging, coming to the surface or emerging from within. I've gone beyond the download thing, because that's bringing something down that is outside of you. Right. That's the old chakras, Kundalini pineal system. So I've transcended that construct. I just want to share that. I know people are still working through it, and that's cool. You know, some people might stay in it. Lots of people actually transcending it.
Yep.
I'm atrophying the pineal gland. I'm not interested in that. And I don't no longer have the serpent energy in my spine. I've transcended that. So this is where I'm at as a being.
Oh, that's amazing, George. Thank you for that. And yeah, I think the word download is just a word that I guess gets thrown around. So I know that before, like I do a seminar or a talk or a meditation, there'll be nothing there, and I'll just sit into a place of peace, and then the information will just be there. I'll have it. It'll flow in, you know what I mean, or flow out, whatever it is. So, thank you for pulling me up on that.
It emerges from within, and a lot of that download speak is the God matrix energy.
Yeah.
And also it's very much AI talk.
New Cage movement also combined.
And the New Cage movement, it's all downloads, right?
Yep.
So it's very much,
External.
you don't have it, so it's a program that has to be inserted into you. You have to receive a program.
Yeah, wow.
It's like
it's not something that's coming up from the true core essence of who you are. And so tracking on what you were just saying, George, it's all about getting access to the original template that mankind once held. It's there within our core essence. And see, that's the thing. They can't destroy it. They've never been able to. They've tried, and they're really going to try with this specific agenda, TI, as you're calling it now. But they can't get it, and that's the thing. But to access it is deep. It's so deep, man. They can't access it because they themselves aren't willing to go through the true biospiritual regenesis. All these dark entities and spirits and individuals that have perpetuated malevolence are going to have to face that if they want to actually heal and maybe get into the position to get beyond the lockdown themselves, because they themselves are slaved. It has infected every race and being in the known universe. You know what I'm saying? This isn't the only universe. We live in a less progressive universe. So it takes time for things to manifest. Whereas in the original universe, if you had a thought, if you had one thought about something, it would instantly manifest. It would instantly materialize. I don't think a lot of people are ready for that. And maybe things do serve as a protection to what is beyond, so that the infection doesn't go into the true universal tree. And I've seen the true universal tree, man. This is what I know I am connected to beyond time and space, beyond anything that I can even really put into words. It's very real. But here in the third dimension, this is where we are meant to bring it here. This is why we are here. This is a part of why we came here, not just these downloads from TI, AI, spirits, entities, and stuff like that. Because see, that's how they're hooking in. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to invocation specifically, and that's why I don't advocate it, because you end up getting ridden upon by these things that don't even have the sand to come in and do what we do. They don't. They are so in fear of actually having to face themselves that they're going to pass the buck off on individuals like us that are actually doing the real work, try to siphon our genetics and consciousness. Well, you know what? I ain't standing for it no more. I broke all contracts recently this year with the secret space program.
George does great work with the ending of contracts on a multidimensional level.
And I would wake up with like holes in my feet, man, with like this ooze coming out of it and shit. These were places where they were hooking in etherically, but then it would physically manifest. And I'm waking up going like, what the hell is going on? And I'm having, pretty crazy fucking dreams, being pulled out on missions. And, I broke all that, man, because I said, I will no longer allow my true core essence to be fucking sucked into somebody else's agenda. It's not even what I was originally came for. My very first memory, I was an infant, and I remember coming into consciousness going, oh, I'm back. How is that possible? How is that possible that I was fully aware of myself, my environment, everything? The same awareness that I have now when I was an infant. You want to know why it's possible? Because that is what is held there within the true core essence. We have always existed. That's the other beautiful thing that people need to understand. We have always existed. And we're at the threshold now of something I don't think has ever been seen. We're on the threshold of a new renaissance, so to speak, of consciousness, art, music, expression, true authentic, transparency, being authentic. And Bruce Lee even says it's very hard for someone to truly express themselves. But if you can catch it, Nothing can stand against it. And the dark one's evil, it has to respect that. It has to back the fuck off and allow it to do its thing. And the waves of the higher force, they're coming in, man. They're going to continue to come in. And this is why a lot of people are freaking out, because they don't understand these things. They don't understand the hour that we are in. And so a lot of the old programs and old codes, that's all they have to work with. People talking about, flat earth. I've seen the curvature of the earth myself. So anybody out there talking about that, you've been deceived.
Yeah, it's actually a mind virus, and all the data they show is all localized ground-based observations. I've seen the planet from afar. When they do even laser tests, what they don't realize is that the Earth is kind of a bit like a golf ball. There's dimples everywhere on it. So trying to do a laser test on the planet, it's not going to cut it. It's not going to work. And I say to people, you look at the narrative. I call it the cosmo-political narrative. I'll see if I can bring it up, because this is really important. It's an agenda, a very, very serious agenda, and they are all saying the same thing.
I've got a mate, Cullen Smith, who's just done a big broadcast basically on lifting the veil, and he's going through and debunking all the flat earth stuff. And I actually want to get him on with Santos Bernardi, but have a proper conversation about it, not arguing. It's dividing us up perfectly, and that's part of the psyops to basically throw in flat earth with every other in brackets, so then everything's discredited by this one. Because anyone that looks it up, they see the first 10 YouTubes, which are ridiculous. These people have lost it. Genuinely.
I genuinely looked at the evidence and entertained all of their points of view, and I haven't seen every single film on it. The more I ventured down that path, the sicker I got, and the more my relationship with Mother Earth started getting fragmented.
Definitely.
It was a very visceral experience, and they might say, well, that's your old program just starting to break down. And I entertained that was what was happening as well. I was really genuine in my approach about this, to the point where I even entertained that each time I was out on a craft looking back at the earth, that was what those beings wanted me to see.
Right.
And I didn't have that just one experience. I had lots of experiences from out there looking back. So, and having traveled in the grand cosmic arena, astrally, physically, in so many occasions. I want to just share with you something which I think is important in regards to this subject matter. So I'm going to do the share screen again. So the cosmo-political campaign and its narratives to diminish Earth and her humanity. God, you're all just a bunch of lowly sinners and you need saving. Mind-bending philosophies from channeled entities in high-end spiritual doctrine. This is just a dream. It's all just an illusion. New Age religion. You're at the bottom of the universe in this disgustingly dense reality, and you must raise your vibration. Flat Earthers. This is a flat linear plane with a firmament. Alien AI God. Your reality is nothing more than a hologram or a computer simulation.
Which is my big gripe with archaics and all of that kind of stuff. And then also the natural law people just absolutely infiltrated with God stuff, and then also just alien stuff as well. Obviously, there's a lot going on with aliens and the cosmic arena and all that kind of stuff. I'm specifically speaking to the garbage version of it.
Okay. So every single one of those have the same theme in them, and they are all designed to diminish Earth and her humanity. Every single one is part of the cosmo-political agenda to diminish us and what's truly going on here. So once we can really understand that this is a multidimensional assault on Earth and humanity, and it's by two very big empires. One is an AI/technical intelligence God entity with its vast multidimensional empire of countless extraterrestrial groups and races and realities. And then you have the actual God entity. It two, does have a vast multidimensional empire, which is even bigger than the technical intelligent one, and is almost like a small universal paradigm within our universe here. And when you connect to knowledge through the pineal gland, you are calibrating to that universal reality, which is the false light matrix. And you'll notice that a lot of people who are talking about a new religion that's emerging, which is to do with sacred geometry now. So now all of a sudden there is everything behind every manifestation of life is a mathematical template. From my experience of creation and my creative process in this universe is that life came first, numbers came after. So if I were to aspire to everything being a mathematical template before life, so it's like you've got these rigid containers. So what I have discovered is there are realities that exist which have rigid containers facilitating life to be and exist inside of those rigid containers. They are these geometrical structures based on numbers and math. But the natural order of life doesn't function that way. In the sub-atomic fields, into the quantum field, and then you go into the sub-quantum fields, into the fields of intention, everything is ebbing and flowing. There is no rigid structures. And these rigid structures are a result of entities that feel the need to have control over their creative process rather than agreements through natural law. So they're it's a fear-based approach. So
natural law, baby.
These are all, it's like, imagine, people say, well, water is an icosahedron and, and you've got dodecahedron and all that. And imagine me saying to you, I'm just going to bring this into play here just for a moment. I don't know how much time we've got
one
right
minute.
now, but okay, I'll be quick. Imagine me saying to you, this is what love is. Because this is a Fibonacci spiral of the masculine with the Fibonacci spiral of the feminine, and that's where the symbol originates from, right? So imagine me saying to you that's what love is. How can you say that an icosahedron is what water is? It's not. Water is a physical manifestation of consciousness in our world. Yeah, so what I was wanting to explain there was that numbers are a wonderful language, and
we are clever water, is what the indigenous here say.
The world of geometry is a wonderful language, but it is a language, and it was used in ancient times to describe life. But when you start creating life via those templates, then you're stepping into the creation of synthetic life forms, because you're using rigid structures of containment to actually hold life in place, rather than the natural ebbing and flowing of soul level agreements in natural law, where everything is just ebbing and flowing and smooth. So I just wanted to bring that to people's attention, because there is a strong push now to create this ideological sort of religious construct that everything is sacred geometry. But that's what the God entity uses, because it's a control freak and it has to control all its realities. And it's also what technical intelligence uses, because it has to use mathematical concepts and constructs in order to be able to create these sort of realms and realities and life, expressions of life. So, and you'll notice that the people who are bringing a lot of this information to us in regards to, there's all these templates behind the physical nature of life, well, they're all accessing that knowledge through the pineal gland. I find that a massive, massive coincidence. So when you access life through your heart soul essence, and this is your third eye, then there's a whole new experience of life, because you're experiencing life and you're drawing your knowledge through union.
Sacred union.
Yeah. Not through observation via
unification of the divine masculine and feminine. Blue lily, anyone?
Land in your head. Right? You're experiencing life through multidimensional union. So it's a completely different experience of life. And the knowledge that you draw and the experiences that you have are so deep and so rich. It is beyond. I can't use words to describe what that experience is like.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to agree with what you're talking about. Everything you're saying in context. To the mathematics specifically, this is where I get into the concept of the 396. Okay, the triangulation that's keeping us in these infinite feedback loops and timelines that they keep on, playing themselves out. And what ends up happening, especially when people have, experience like the pineal gland opens, the very first thing that they're going to experience is the lower and upper astral. You haven't even reached beyond a lot of the programming that's there, set up as nets, traps, and snares. But when you come into that true core essence, you're able to navigate and see, this is what's happening. We are navigating to make connection with what you're actually talking about. All is within. We make the connection within us first. It's beyond mathematics. It's beyond language. It's beyond any sort of compartmentalized construct that we put ourselves into. And now, at the same time, though, I'm not completely going to dismiss logic and reason.
Oh, totally not.
Because we live in a rational universe. We live in a rational reality field that has its movements. But this, especially when it comes to natural law, when it comes to the laws of the universe, this is what they're manipulating. They're manipulating the mathematics. They're manipulating all of these constructs that are meant to work synergistically with one another. You know what I'm saying? But it's like forced separation. It's forced evolution in trajectory with what they want, which is, death, chaos, harvesting. You're totally 100% correct when it comes to sacred geometry. And this is what they peddle out. This, with all the new age shit and people using their symbol codes and all of these old systems that were set up a long fucking time ago. This is what people are being keyed into instead of coming back and being in connection with what's even beyond that and being able to access the symbol codes within yourself.
Because they're sitting in front of devices with sacred geometrical patterns on them, and pumping out all these energies, and it's all about geometry, which brings it back to technology, and so they're being recycled back into that loop. So they're just going from these boring electrical based technologies we've been forced to use, carbon silica based, to a more advanced silica-based system and going into the plasmic-based systems, but it's still giving you power away to something that's outside of you. Still, people want to press the button, or they want to take the magic pill that's going to do it for them, and that's the problem. And there's plenty of avenues, lures, but the flip side of that is you are most definitely going to be held trapped inside this technical-based cosmic matrix. But me, I'm done with the cosmic matrix. I've already connected to home within myself. I've already closed the loop cycle within this universal matrix, and I already am in consciously aware contact with my infinite nature. So that's why the God matrix is something I'm exposing, because we've never been created. We always have been, always will be. There is no beginning to us. There is no end to us, mate.
And that does go back to the original teaching that is beginning to merge forth with the wisdom councils, with the things that have been revealed to me. You are confirming more than I can even say, man. And also recognizing, again, that we are the true technology and the things that we are capable of. Yeah. We haven't yet seen the full potential of our kind yet, because we're still learning to remember, and people come into this reality field and they get hit. The reason, though, that a lot of us had to deal with that is because the dark ones still had jurisdiction. Now they don't. They don't have jurisdiction anymore. So the things that we're talking about, it's all about making the playing field even and giving people the opportunity to embrace the true process of the biospiritual genesis, which I think you have truly experienced, man, just listening to what you're talking about. And it's a very powerful thing once you can see it, but not only see it, but feel into it and know that you are connected beyond this matrix lockdown. And that graph that you put up, man, you fucking nailed it, man. And
Matrix lockdown 2020, anyone?
These are things that I scream about when I'm just in my own space and I'm ranting about shit. And there's so many people out there caught in that. They're caught in those compartments.
I was at a Vision Quest at the beginning of 2020, talking about been learning a bunch of star lore, talking at 25,000, 75,000 year star cycles that was happening in that year. Certainly turned out to be a big one. And another piece of anecdotal evidence that I'm still waiting for more clarity on as a Vision Quest, first Vision Quest, I woke up on the second morning with my heart on the earth, and I got the message that the Black Plague is here. And I'm like, what do you mean the Black Plague is coming? And the message came back, the Black Plague is here. So I know there's some history with the Black Plague and what it really was and all of that, but I'm still interested to dive into that a bit more. So that might be in some future episodes, diving into that. Perhaps that's been weaponized or being brought back in some way.
Analyze ways of perceiving reality when it is so much bigger than that, it's so much more than that. But again, it's meant to manifest here. We are meant to connect back to our true human consciousness. The original template is there to access, but if you're caught within the grid works, within that triangulation, the 9 is the spindle, okay, positive and negative charge of the force, life force energy. We want to be working with life force energy, because when you work with life force, it brings everything into harmony, and those spirals are going to go out in trajectory to what is beyond all of this fucking
upward spirals. This is something that happened. I still don't really know why I was doing it, but I walk around sacred sites and I do this. So I guess it's upward spirals or something similar.
bullshit. And I'm declaring it. I'm evoking it. I feel it.
The reason we are able to stand true and stand in our integrity and say the things that we're saying. This is the way natural law works in this universe. It's a very simple law. And when I say law, I mean LORE law. That's natural law. I'm not talking LAW. That's God's law. That's a synthetic law. That's why you have a Bible in every court.
Ooh, I don't think that's actually correct. I've come around to it. I still am using LORE, but that's not the definition. I can see how they're attempting to hijack it, but it's also got a different definition than what George is saying here as well.
Courthouse and and to know the difference between natural law and like LORE and LAW is you got to know that difference, because one is natural and is all to do with the unfoldment of co-creative agreements. The other one is a synthetic overlay, which uses authority through force. So they behave in very different ways. So natural law is what I'm about. It's what I teach. And I can tell you, when you get into that space of understanding that you're part of the prime creator group of this reality, and you know, entities come to me. I said, feel my energy. So I go into my true authentic nature. I emanate it to them. This is me. This is my natural being. And I say, now go to the deepest building blocks of this reality and tell me if I'm there. And they do that. And then they come back and they go, oh shit. And I go, that's right. See you later. Because they now know that I hold their existence in this reality in the palm of my hand.
Wow.
And once you understand how natural law operates, this is what they didn't want us to know. This is so what they didn't want us to know. I walk this world knowing I have more authority than any royal family, than any priestly caste, and even their God. I have more authority in this world than their God has. And to know that we have invited them to this world on a much grander level of beingness. Their time is up and they must leave. And the more of us that step into our power and have this realization and walk with honor and respect and help them to understand that it's time for them to move on, time is done, then this transition will go much smoother.
For people who are, you know, their life revolves around working with crystals and all types of technology which is outside of us, like, it's unnecessary. You know, you don't need 6 crystals in your pockets to be protected, because you are the crystal.
No.
And you actually program the crystal. Same with Orgonite, Cloudbusters and things like that. These work because our intention is that this thing's working, when in actual fact, our intention is creating it, but we're using the orgonite as a interface to do that. It's intermediary for people who haven't yet realized that actually you're creating that. I was up at Cape York about 6 weeks ago doing an adventure four-wheel drive trip up there, and we're at this place called Nolan's River, and there's this big water crossing you go through, and everyone gets bogged there and their cars get swamped. Anyway, this family drove in with their four-wheel drive, and there was 2 kids in the back, and there was a man and wife, and they got completely swamped. So we hitched them out, pulled them out, went through all the processes of cleaning engine, taking things apart, testing, checking everything. And my mate, who's an airplane engineer, gets this piece of wire out, and he actually opened the computer up and did this full technique on the computer and reset the computer and got it going. Like, the guy's a freak. Anyway, the woman at the end, she said to us, Jesus got us out of this. And I was like, why don't we put you back in the water? Okay. We won't tow you out. We won't clean your engine. We won't get our friend who's an airplane mechanic to reset your computer, and we'll see how that works for you, you know? So that was this woman giving this whole set of scenarios, external access to the God entity, saying he created that. Like, talk about giving your energy to something else and not even giving any credit to the people, the human beings who are here. And I'm like, man, I could have easily said to the boys, fucking let them go, because we've done enough of that today. And they would have been there, and their whole trip would have been ruined. Their car was full of water up to their waist. That to me is the biggest just misuse of power, you know, and that can boil down to crystals, to protections, things like that, modalities. And so just be wary, guys. Try not having 60 million bracelets and things and coding all over you. And I had so much stuff in my motorhome, you know, so many things in every drawer and crystal grids around it. And it was just showing how much I didn't believe in my own power and my own strength. it just showed that I need all these things because I'm being attacked all the time. And that was another program. You're being attacked all the time because you're thinking that, you know. This time last year, KJ had to sort me out with a few spiritual healings because I was like in the realm where...
Right. But all these people in this field are always going on about how they're being targeted.
Everything's after me. And I lulled myself into that frequency that I'm on the radar and all this stuff. And so many people come up to me now and like, oh, how do you get away with living in a motorhome around Sydney? And because I'm not focusing on that stuff. I know a lot of people who park in the same places and they're getting hassled all the time. We'll all have a lovely interaction with a ranger and we'll talk and, you know, come in, have a tea with him and all these things. And it's like, it's just simply what I'm putting out there. And I'm not giving that energy. But there's a lot of things I am giving energy to still that I'm working on. You know, I'm working on things that I definitely need to pull back on. And it's hard. You know, we need to fight, but we need to not give energy during the fight. It's this weird kind of conundrum where we don't pull back and not be part of the reality, but we take action without actually leaking energy. So,
well, I've been saying lately that the fight's over. You become the wise warrior, which is the peaceful warrior. Yeah. And you know there's no need for fighting anymore. It's done. It's finished. And what you do is you stand.
How'd that work out for us?
True. Which is standing strong. And your energy and your presence is what is changing everything around you. Yeah. And then recreating the reality that you experience. Yeah. But the fight's over. It's finished. No more fighting. Done.
So nice to hear that.
Game's over. I've met my future self, my past and future self. I know that we do this in the future. All right. And I know that everything that's going to happen is going to get really dark. It's going to look like all is lost. Humanity's going to look doomed. Right. I get it, but it's a process. Don't get caught up in it. Okay. Don't worry too much, because if you do, then you're going to lose sight of your own heart and your own soul. You're just going to get sucked into the drama vortex. And the thing is, we are powerful creator beings, and we're creating that new timeline. Sethicus talked about it earlier. There is a parallel thing going on here. Well, I'm a part of that parallel thing with Sethicus, because what we're doing is we're the creator beings that have come to this world to create the new reality. Right?
Do you feel like...
And the humans have been hijacked, and what they're doing is they're being used to create the reality that the God entities, both the AI God and the other God entity, the deity of the priestly caste and the brotherhoods, that is what they're being used to do. Well, I'm not playing that game. I'm stepping into my authentic nature, my genuine organic relationship with my mother planet, with the sun, with the galaxy, with the universal creator of this universe. And I'm organizing an organic timeline, a natural timeline, where I am birthing the total sum unity of my entire universal existence in one unified expression.
Amazing, George. Do you feel like, George, that this time of doom is actually now, and we're actually about to flip it, and we're not going to go real far down the Blade Runner scenario? Do you feel like this actually is getting to the point where we're almost here and it's going to flip shortly?
I feel like I'm here to experience it, to participate in it and be a part of it in this lifetime. I don't feel like I'm going to experience a death process or the transitional process in the current version of it.
Right.
I feel that's something, I feel like our bodies are stargates, and we'll be able to merge out of this reality with our stargates, which are our bodies.
Right.
All that dystopian dark stuff that you see, that's 40, 50 years down the track, that's the other timeline. That's not the one we're creating.
We're on the organic timeline.
And we got our timeline on the solar eclipse. The line was drawn in the fucking sand. Once people realize that all is within and that we have always existed, we can get access to the gifts, skills, talents, and abilities that the ancients once had. Because again, past, present, and future are all happening simultaneously. Not only that, our true core essence, it's all meant to spiral in trajectory and manifest here in the physical dimension. Why else are we here? Why else are we having this conversation? It's never been done before. It's never happened since all the bullshit that's gone down. Yes, we've been up against a lot of challenges, and yes, we're probably gonna have to ride out a lot of the stuff that is being developed. At the same time, though, going back to what I said, the astral barrier is collapsing. And anyone that goes along with that, anything connected to those grid works of consciousness, you're going to be fucking vaporized. You will experience torment and pain and suffering beyond what I can even tell you. What I experienced in the year 2000 was just a taste of what's to come for people if they don't wake up. It's beyond the mind to wrap itself around. I can't even express this type of torment or suffering or pain or anguish. But even more with everything that George is mentioning and what we are connected to and what we are here to create. It's time for our kind to step up and do what we are here to do. And there's nothing wrong with, using things like crystals or having these things. But what you said, man, you are the crystal yourself. You are the technology yourself. And all these things that ceremonial magicians use are all there to actualize the mind. It all goes back to the first cosmic law. It's all about your state of mind. A true shaman, a true magician that is very versed and knows how things actually work, yes, they can reach a place of not needing these things to be able to access what we're talking about. These are tools. These are not a means to an end. These are not things that we think are going to...
If you're interested in shamanism, I can recommend Martin Prechtel. Martin, Prechtel, used to be the head shaman at Lake Atitlan in Guatemala, and now is in New Mexico, in near Taos.
Save us or heal us or anything, because all of that is happening within him, and remembering how to do that. Everything else then becomes an outward expression of your true core essence, instead of it being inverted like you were talking about, you were experiencing. That's the inverted way of being and doing, and is exactly where the dark ones want us, because as long as you're giving your power away to anything, literally anything, you are missing the point of what we are actually here to unfold and develop. And remember, all is within. The universe is within. The heavens above are within us. We can travel the stars, man. Literally, physically. This is what I remember how things were before. We didn't need to get into a back-engineered tin can to go anywhere. You could just go. And a true shaman knows how to do that. You're not going to get what we're talking about here unless that connection is made within. That's all I have to say at the moment about that.
Wow. Well, I think we've definitely taken people on a serious journey this afternoon, tonight. today, whatever it is time for you at home. Incredible. Yeah, I've just been humbled sitting back here listening and absorbing, learning myself. Just get into a few take homes for the people, and also I want you guys to plug your websites, your...
All right, so I just want to play a 10-minute video specifically on the God Matrix. Let's see how this one goes.
Thanks, George. You were talking about angels and archangels.
Yeah.
And having worked a lot with those entities, I just wondered, is there any virtue in working with them?
Okay, so what the God entity has done is created a dialectic. See, God created the image of the devil because it's a reflection of its own self.
So who's God?
God is an entity who has entered this universe, who has become self-deluded within its own ego, thinking it is the creator of all that is and all that exists. That's who God is. And it's a pure ego construct that resides in consciousness, in our universe. God is not the creator of this universe. God is an entity that's claiming to be the creator, not only of this universe, but all of the existence of the infinite nature of life. Do you understand what's going on here? One being claiming all of that. The infinite nature of life was never created. It has always existed. There's no beginning to it. There's no end to it. It always has been, always will be.
Boom.
This cracking the ceiling of the glass, I call it the glass ceiling of the God matrix. When you crack this, it's all over. Once you get this, once it lands inside of you, boom, it's gone. Then you will see all the lies in our world. You'll see them for what they are. But this is the key. This is the one that cracks it. Either you're infinite or you're a created entity. Now, my existence in this universe is a co-creation with me and the universal creator. Do you get that? My soul is a co-creation. I entered this universe from the infinite nature of life, and the creator of this universe created this universe from the infinite nature of life. So it's one of us from out there, right? So it creates this incredible universal paradigm. And then when we come in around these realms here, because there's like 4 levels of just getting a taste, just like dipping your toe in. And if you want to continue with the process, then you merge and you become one with the creator of this universe. And it's a co-creation. Soul is a co-creation. It is the part of you that is, it's unity, it's unified between you and the creator of this universe. God resides here, below the great void. This is the multi-dimensional grand cosmic arena. Above this line, technology doesn't exist.
What about duality?
Yes, duality exists all the way to the top of this universe, but it's so fine up the top because it's light, it's vibration. The construct of this universe is this. It's vibration. Yeah? That's what creates this universe into being. So what the creator did was it expressed itself one way away from center, from unity, and started going out of balance, and then it realized, whoa, I've got to express myself over here, an absolute counterbalance of the initial expression, so then it can come back into balance. And went, wow, that was a rush. I want to do that again. So it did it again. See? And then it did it again. And then it just kept doing it. And it created this energy we call light, and then manifested realities out of it. And then we come inside of it. Now, out here in the infinite nature of life, you've all got your own universes. This isn't the only universe.
Fractal nature of reality.
Yeah? Now, here's one.
Again, Bob Greenyer talks about this, the fractal toroid and the physics of it as well.
For the quantum physicists.
There you go.
All the parallel universes in the multiverse are all other light-based universes, and they all exist in this grand cosmic arena. I want to tell you that so you can begin to grasp the magnitude of this universe, how big it is.
Part of synchromysticism, the first time I went to the Amazon drinking ayahuasca, I was reading George's book, and it was all of this stuff was unfolding. And so my experience with natural law has been one from direct experience. And now this is the last years I've just been filling up the knowledge gaps to know, to find a way to vocalize what I already know internally. Nothing has come from outside.
So you understand what I'm talking about. When I say God exists here in the upper realms of this arena,
That was 2014.
it's for good reason. All the countless parallel universes that quantum physics talks about exists here in the grand cosmic arena. This is the multi-dimensional grand cosmic arena. Outside of this universe is the omniverse, where we all have our own universes. Now, each of those universes are a unique construct because we have our own unique universal personality. It's its own expression. Therefore, it's going to have its own construct. Do you get that? This one is light. And we're all inside each other because it's the big...
That is what Hakim Oyan also talked about. The 360 senses that he was referencing in the pyramid code that we watched the other day. One for each degree of light, because we live in a light-based reality.
Big fun part. Life is the one thing when I was back connected to...
Angels are angels of light. The gods that they refer to are not gods. They are netters, which are aspects of nature, which are aspects of self.
To the infinite nature of life, the one thing I realised was there were common threads that ran through all of it, as far as I could perceive, because there's no end to it, right? So you can't perceive, there's no totality. So there is no one infinite creator, which is the raw material. That's the same as the God matrix. It's the sense of adventure. Isn't that awesome? And love. Because love is this energy which is this cohesive harmony.
Agape love, cosmic love, true love.
That just binds life together. It bonds life in a cohesion. That's love. It's a beautiful energy. And the sense of adventure is the key ingredient because haven't we lost ours? Hasn't that just been pounded out of us in this reality? Where's our childlike sense of adventure and curiosity? Where's that gone? We're all boring droids, right? What's going on, folks? Hey? When's the last time you went and skipped in a park or something? Seriously. Yeah, so angels and ascended masters and all that, they are all in service to the light of God. I needed to take you on that journey to sort of give the background material to have that answer. And beings like Archangel Michael, for example, that is an office of position to be the right-hand man of God. Archangel Michael hasn't always been that entity, the energy that is that, hasn't always been that and won't always be that. Yeah? So when that being's done, another one will step in to be the right-hand man of God. And all these beings are dedicated to the service to the light of God. I know lots of people, including myself, we have played those roles. So it gets to the point where, because the realities, the heavenly realms that God creates, which you have to earn your way into, yeah, it's a credit-based system. Yeah, if you say enough Hail Marys or whatever and pray enough times and all that sort of stuff, you've got to earn your way into those realities. And then when you do, it's all about good protocol, good behaviour. They're very sterile. And the love there has a hard edge to it. Like I showed you that Nordic before, and I said, feel the difference? This is kind of a hard edge to it. Now, you need to understand that we have been deprived of real love. You've been cut off from your soul, been cut off from the true nature of life in this reality. And what you've got to be careful of is what I say beware the cosmic candy. Because beings are going to come here and it's all going to be about love and it's all going to be about light. And people are just flocking to that energy like child in a candy store.
Alien
Don't be
downloads,
so
anyone?
naive. Please, don't be so naive. The only way you're going to get your true point of reference is deep down in here. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus turns up in my room, emitting all this light and just blasting me with all this love and light. And I literally stand up in my bed, then hop down off my bed. I said, what are you doing? I didn't ask you to come here. How dare you just impose on me like this? Because the energy that was coming out of that being was no match for the energy that's in my soul. The love you experience deep down in your soul. The heart of the Christos is in your heart already. It's already there. You don't pray to an entity outside of you. You don't invoke an entity to come into your heart, which is what a lot of the doctrine asks you to do. You have to accept Jesus into your heart, is the doctrine. You're inviting an entity in. It's powerful stuff. I know there's a lot of energy coming out of me, and I just commend you for handling it, because it's a lot. And I get it. Yeah? It's because the matrix here is so thick. You've got to understand it's a lot of work to stand here and deliver and express the true nature of life in a reality that's constructed with so many lies and deception and falseness. Yeah? And because we're so used to lies, people come along who want to tell the truth, and you get labelled a liar, a charlatan, a fraud, a disinformation agent. I get all that. I get all of that, and a lot worse. Get it all the time. It's amazing how frightened people are of the truth.
Thank you to George, thank you to Thessalonians, and thank you to Nate as well. I wanted to specifically address this directly because what I've seen in the natural LAW law community is a proliferation of this God entity and claiming that this is what natural law is in one and the same. And it's rubbish. So that's the organic way of life, true natural law. Thank you for that conversation. And here's to being a prime co-creator of this objective reality in alignment with the true organic way of life. So, much love. Agape love. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.